Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
And welcome back to What's Hatching, episode 2.
Ito na agad.
Episode 2.
Kalahin mo.
Bilis
We're actually doing it.
Yes.
Akala
Diba?
ko ano lang to eh. Laro-laro eh. Totoo
Hobby
na pala
lang.
talaga to.
Yes. So we're back. If you've listened to our episode 0, which is our introduction, you know what this is about.
Yes.
And what did we talk about last time?
Well,
Bakit tayo nag-start?
Bakit?
Yun.
Yeah, the reason why.
Yes.
So now, for this episode, I think it's interesting. Why we're starting the podcast is because we're all food entrepreneurs. Diba? So I guess the next most logical reason or topic would be, sa lahat ng business na pwedeng gawin, bakit food?
yung...
Bakit nga ba
Oo
food?
nga.
So why? Why food business? Why not drop shipping?
Oo.
Or why not forex trading? Or, di ba? Ang dami-daming pwedeng gawin. Bakit food? Sa lahat ng businesses.
Bakit nga ba, Danny?
Ako na.
Ay,
Ayun
ako
na.
Kasi natin.
Kasi ako na naman niya.
Yun. Okay.
Pinangunahan mo ako
Oo,
dun.
kilala kita, Danny. Alam ko.
Okay, so I guess we can start with weighing the pros and the cons.
Okay.
What's the good news? What's the bad news? Diba?
correct.
Of starting a food business. I will start with good news. Good news muna. Let's start with why you should. Muna.
Alright, okay.
And then let's go around.
Okay.
Whew.
Tayo malalim. Wait lang ha.
Honestly,
Babalik muna ako sa pagkabata.
By the way, we're being watched here. Say
Yes.
hi to the
Hi.
camera.
Hello.
Hello.
So
If
yun.
you are
Hi, everyone.
watching us from wherever you're watching us,
Yes.
we're not biased to any platforms yet.
Yes.
Unless you pay us. Yeah.
Ano na sinasabi ko na.
But
Para may
basically-
pangkapi tayo na Bean
Yeah.
Black.
Yun.
Bean Black.
Yan,
Shout
no?
out to Bean
Shout
Black.
out.
Yeah, diba? Why food business? It's really hard for me to answer that question from an optimistic standpoint because I love food business, but food business does not love me.
Pero hinahabol ka. no?
Hinahabol.
Yeah, I can't get
Yes.
away from it. So I guess for me, if I'm being completely honest, why food business? The one thing that I really loved about doing food is the look on the people's faces when they eat my creations.
Oh.
My very first experience in the food business was when I did a bazaar in Tiendesitas. So I was still a student there, and I did a 2-day Christmas bazaar.
Nice.
Where I cooked my food, and then I did the bazaar, and then I was selling the pasta at that time, Presto, diba? And then the first time I saw someone order my carbonara, and then they were eating it, and then the look on their face was like, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, tingnan mo yung reaction ni Danny pang Ay, sorry.
no brands will be mentioned
Oh, okay.
until they pay for
Yes.
So alam nyo na.
beep.
Sorry.
So anyway, point is there, the look on the face. Na parang,
Actually, that alone eh. That
Diba,
alone
na
is something
parang-
that motivates you eh.
this is something that I cooked, that I put my heart in, that pinag-isipan ko kung anong lasa niyan, kung anong recipe, kung paano yung melding nitong ingredient na to sa ingredient na to.
Yeah.
Na-finalize ko siya and nakita ko yung itsura. The person who was eating it really loved it.
Yan. Oh.
And not only did they love it, after like an hour or two, the same person came back with friends.
Yes. Oo.
Came back with friends and said, ito masarap to. That kind of feeling na parang, wow. Kahit
It's
di
really
nila alam
something.
na
Yeah.
ako yung nag-create nyon. I'm just looking from afar. Nakita ko lang. I'm just seeing this. I'm like, wow, that's such a heartwarming that I was able to make someone happy
Yeah.
with what I worked hard to create.
Yes.
Diba?
So yun pala yung
Yun yung pro.
So, bakit pala pasta?
Why pasta?
Yeah.
Because my mom makes, very funny story.
Yeah.
Every Christmas, we do a kind of competition. Who can cook the best dish sa Noche Buena.
Oh, nice.
So pasarapan kami ng luto nun. And laging usually nagvo-vote o ano yung pinakamasarap. So nagvo-vote yung family. Usually nananalo yung lasagna ng mom ko.
Oh,
Yun
syempre.
laging panalo yun, yung lasagna ng mom ko. But there was one year, in-observe ko, how did my mom cook it? And then I learned how she did it, but I did it in a different way. And I didn't do lasagna, I did pasta. And instead of lasagna, I did tuna pesto.
Oh,
But the discipline
nice,
of how the step-by-step, paano niya in-execute, ginawa ko, pero ginawa ko in my way. And then, the first time I ever did that tuna pesto recipe was the first Noche Buena, ako yung nanalo.
Wow.
And dun ko na-experience na, uy, marunong pala akong magluto. I can cook pala.
Yo.
Correct.
So yun. So yun yung eventually naging business ko. Pero that's a story for another podcast
Yes.
episode. Yun yung pro. For me, pro kayo. Pro. Why is it a good idea for food business?
Well, sino na ba?
Ikaw.
Ako na.
Ikaw
Okay.
talaga tinignan kita. Ako
Sige.
na nag-decide.
Yan. Oo. Actually.
Kasi bumabalik pa ako sa pagkabata. Wait lang guys,
Oo
nag-iisip pa kasi ako yung totoo.
Alright. Sige, ako naman. So, ano naman sa akin? So, medyo different lang. Kasi, ang ating dito is mga matagal na sila nagsimula. Although in our case, I just started like recently, like mga a year.
Oh, it's been
a year ago. Yes, a year ago. But technically, we have been selling like 2 years na. 2 years ago, we just selling the small bottles for coffee. But for the coffee business, we just started it like last year
So
lang.
it's fairly new.
Yes, bago lang siya. So,
So bakit?
yan. Bakit nga ba?
Why is it a good idea?
For me, it's a good idea kasi everyone of us likes food. We love
Right.
food. Diba? Everywhere we go, syempre pinag-uusapan natin with friends, saan tayo kakain? Diba? Anong gusto mong pagkain? But hindi doon nawawala, kape muna tayo. Kape muna tayo, friend. Diba? It's actually about how you build relationship with other people.
Conversation.
The conversation itself, the relationship building, it happens inside the coffee shop. Most of the conversation happens in the coffee shop. So, andun yung idea ko. So, that's the pros, di ba? You talk about the food. Oh, ang sarap nito Di ba? And then you talk about how visually appealing the food is, how good the smell is, how can you share the moments with your loved ones or with your friends and relatives. So, actually, I can relate with Dan because that's also what I feel. When we see our customers, the moment they sip their cup and we happen to observe yung kanilang facial expression, dun pa lang is already a gift to us. So, ganun sa amin is, that's what I see is a pros. Yan,
Okay.
pros talaga yun.
So you agree, basically. Wala
Yeah,
kang
actually-
ibang reason?
For me,
Aside from the
profit-wise,
reaction.
sabi natin profit-wise, mas magalaw ang food.
Kesa sa ibang business.
Yeah.
Oh.
Based on my
Experience.
but we have a lot of experiences naman. So
So
also
you've done other
yeah.
industries then. So
Yeah.
kino-compare mo yung experience mo
Yes.
profit-wise.
Kasi based on my other previous experiences, ito lang yung nagka-store and retail store ako.
Oh.
Yes, because before, as I mentioned in the previous episode, I've been in bag manufacturing.
Correct.
And after that is actually nakapag kami with my brother, sila naman actually doon is naka-sell ng case ng mga phones. Yes, case ng phones. And then we happen to sell also mga OB cheese before. Yung sa pandemic pa
Which
lang.
is food pa rin.
Food pa din. And then naging cookies siya and then naging kape na. So doon na.
So marami siyang pinagdaanan.
Dandun din. So, ayun. So, ipapasa ko naman ang aking torch naman.
Yeah.
Kay Brad.
Bakit?
Lang,
Ayun.
yung cons muna, parang anong cons?
Hindi.
Ay,
sa
pause
next
muna
round
daw.
yung
Next round na daw yun.
Sorry. Lutang
Okay.
pa. Nasobrahan ata ako sa kape.
Yun.
So good news before bad news.
So yung good news siguro sa akin, para sa akin, syempre bata ka pa kasi ako noon. Like 17 years old, imagine, nasa food na ako noon, no? So paano ako napunta doon agad? O, di ba? First, doon muna tayo kung paano ako napunta. Konti lang. Una kasi yun, nagluluto yung nag-aalaga sa akin, like yung pinsan ko. Dalawa lang kasi kami ng pinsan ko doon sa bahay. Tapos parang napansin, syempre bata ka pa, like grade 6 ata ako noon, or let's say 13 years old. Like kailangan magluto na kami sa bahay kasi dalawa lang kami. Walang nag-aalaga, wala yung parents ko. So paano magluluto dun? Bata lang ako, pinagsasayang ako. Pag uwi ng bahay, hindi ako magsayang, papaluin na ako, di ba? So napush ako matutong magluto.
Okay.
Kumbaga wala pa yung mindset ko, ay kailangan food na agad ako. Walang
Correct.
ganon.
Oo nga.
So ngayon, yung tita ko, pag nandun siya, natutuwa ako kasi nagluluto siya, pati yung pinsan. Pag nagluluto sila, nanonood ako.
Okay.
So, napansin
So
ko na...
similar sa akin.
Oo,
Yung nanonood.
Tapos ngayon napansin ko na parang may kulang sa pagkain mo. Na-i-imagine ko na agad yung pagkain.
How you can elevate.
Yes. Tapos sabi ko, ate parang kulang yan ng asin, kulang ng ganto. So sabi ko, wala, hindi ko napansin. Okay, sige. Simula nun, pinagluluto na kasi ako ng pagkain. So parang napamahal ako sa food.
Oh,
First, syempre, yung good side is, mahal mo yung ginagawa mo.
Exactly.
Di ba?
Exactly.
Second, sa food, pag pinili mo siya is, syempre, necessity siya eh. Kahit saan mo lagay, food is food talaga. Hindi mabubuhay yung tao nang walang
it's a
pagkain.
need.
Tama,
So,
need
it's
na
a
siya.
need.
Oo.
So, yun yung isang reason na may market.
Right.
Pero ang tanong, paano yung market?
Yeah.
So, yun yung isang good side. At the same time, madali magtayo ng food business talaga. Madali siya.
Oh, yeah.
Oo, ang laging tanong lang dyan, kung gaano kasarap yung luto mo. Pero at the end of the day, lahat ng tao, kanya-kanya ng palates kasi. So, ang tanong lang dyan, anong majority na masasarapan yung tao? So, yun, first, madaling gawin. Second, mas nasa puso mo. Kasi lahat naman, Filipino culture talaga is yung salo-salo, magkakasama.
Yeah.
Passion ka, yun yung good dun. Hindi mo na-feel na nagtatrabaho ka as food business.
Yes.
No? Yun. Third is necessity. Yun yung sa akin. So,
The
yun.
pros. Okay.
Yes.
So the cons naman. The
Yes.
bad news.
Yun, the bad
Yun.
news.
Marami akong bad news.
Yes. Parang kailangan ko na ata lumabas
Most people kasi they think, okay, food. Ayun na nga.
No.
Tama naman lahat ng sinabi nyo. It's a need.
Yes, correct.
Everyone needs to eat, right? So it's a no-brainer.
Correct.
Of course, this should be the business I do. But for me, one of the biggest cons is the fact that the product that we sell spoils. The fact that the product that we sell spoils. Compared to other businesses, like if we're talking merchandising, retail, all of these things. When there's a business that doesn't have a product that spoils, it means as long as you have the product, you will get the profit back. No matter what, right? Because it's just a matter of keeping it there in stock and ready to sell anytime,
Yeah.
right? Versus food, pag lumampas ng certain amount of time, tapon na yan.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
In fact, if you talk about like as simple as pastries or even donuts, di ba? Like kahit yung malalaking donuts na hindi ko na lang in-name kasi hindi pa nila tayo sino-sponsor. so
Soon.
yung mga donut shops, at the end, if there's still donuts on the deck, they will get all of that, they will cut it, they will throw that away.
Yeah.
They cannot sell that.
Correct.
Diba? Which
Exactly.
is money down the drain.
Yes.
Right? So for me, aside from that, more of exclusively to the food business yung con na yun. But aside from that is also, people don't realize that to have a restaurant, you need to pay a big rent.
Correct.
Yan. So those are the two things that will kill food businesses. That people don't realize that it is spoiled and there's a big spoilage amount.
Yeah.
Secondly, the rent, if you don't get enough sales, will kill you.
Exactly.
Correct.
Diba?
As well as the overhead cost of the employees.
Yan. So yan yung con mo. You go ahead.
Yes.
Ikaw naman. Gab.
Okay, so
Oh.
just adding to that, actually,
Ayan.
I could also relate because syempre, ganun naman talaga what we also experience in the food business. Aside from that, most of the food business is already working in a red ocean. So meaning to say, medyo ano na yung ating competition spheres. So customers are looking for what is new on your business. What is different.
So for the listeners that are not familiar with that terminology, you mentioned red ocean.
Yes.
I've heard of blue ocean strategy,
Yes, blue
red
ocean
ocean. So
strategy.
can you very quickly explain what's the difference?
Okay, so Blue Ocean strategy is an area or a market wherein there are few competitors.
So when you say blue ocean, kokonti lang yung competition mo.
Yes.
When you say red ocean,
Red Ocean is a lot of competitors. That's why
Maraming,
red.
ano.
Kasi ang daming lalaban,
Okay.
diba? It's like a war.
Ocean
Yeah.
deep lang kasi alam ko.
patay tayo dyan.
Yes.
Meron bang yellow ocean? Wala naman.
Well, sa context pa wala naman.
So there, it's
So,
similar
yes.
to the Matrix, the blue pill and the red pill. Oh,
Yes.
Anyway.
Yung cons, medyo mahirap na tanong sa akin yan. Kasi ako yung tipo ng tao na walang cons sa akin eh. Oo. So, siguro yung cons lang is yung yung especially kung wala ka talagang idea sa pagluluto, no? Yung tamang pagluluto, no? So yun isa, yung cons nun na pag di ka marunong, hindi mo alam gawin yung pagkain ng maayos, hindi ka talaga mag-grow, di ba? Hindi ka creative. Tsaka yung panglasa mo. Di ba? Kung di majority yung magaling kang lasa mo, wag ka na magdayo ng business. Kasi one of the competition talaga, quality lasa. So second is food business. Syempre, yung con lang din doon is yung mga business owner ng pagkain, masyado nakafocus lang sa pagkain.
Yes.
So, luto, benta ng pagkain, pero hindi lang yun yung dapat malaman mo.
So basically, there are many factors
Yes.
that you need to know of that you are not aware of yet.
Yes.
Oo, yun yung isa yun. So, yung cons na yun, kumbaga, yung cons ng pagkain, nag-uumpisa pa lang yung laban mo. Sa stage 1 pa lang.
Oo nga.
You have a lot to learn pa.
Yes. So, isa yun. Tapos, second is yung cons nun, syempre, yung yung tamang pagkukosting nun. Mahirap kasi sa pagkain eh. Di ba, yung ibang owner nagluluto lang. Di naman nila alam paano yung grams, paano yung ganito.
Basta
Yes,
masarap yan, may
oo.
bibili niyan.
Oo. So, yun yung
Tama,
cons
tama.
na kailangan marunong ka rin sa
How to budget.
Yes, budget ng pagkain, like ilang grams dapat to.
Iba yung
serving,
iba yung
costing.
nagluluto ka sa pamilya mo Iba yung nagluluto ka para ibenta.
Oo,
Yes.
yun, tama. So, yun yung sa nakita kong additional dun sa mga sinabi mo. Yun pa lang sa ngayon.
So okay, so now that we know why you should do food business and why you shouldn't do food business, I guess the most logical next question is, para kanino ba si food business? Anong klaseng tao yung dapat for me based on everything that we've been talking about, so I'll start again, right? Kasi parang ganito yung rotation.
Oo nga.
But point is, I think based on what you're saying is the first requirement of a person to do food business is, nako naman, sana naman marunong ka magluto, diba?
Yes.
Kaya
oo.
mag-food business ka, hindi ka naman pala nagluluto. That doesn't
Tama.
make sense, diba? So, I guess, you don't have to be a chef, but you need to have a talent for cooking, at the very least.
Or at least have the drive to learn to cook. Yan.
To learn, diba? So, for me, who is the food business for? It's for people that have a talent in cooking, have a little bit of creative, innovative thinking, how to change what is normal. Because everyone thinks, magluto lang ako ng ganito, bebenta yan. No. You have to be able to create a product that sets itself apart from the red ocean. Because nga, it's a red ocean, daming competitors. So, how will you create a product, put it into the market, and let it stand out?
Yes,
How will it be
exactly.
different from everyone else who's doing, like, for example, egg drop? How is the egg drop different? If you want to learn how our egg drop is, diba?
Oo,
Nag-commercial
alam mo na.
bigla.
Yun.
You can book an
Brought to you
investment session if you want to franchise or anything like that. Anyway, that's another episode altogether. But point here is, the first thing you need to do is know how to cook. The second thing you need to know is how to make your food different from everyone else. That's for me. For you, Gab, who is food business for?
Okay. So, medyo iba ako sa take ni,
Okay.
ni Dan. Kasi, I'm not really a cook myself.
Oh,
Yeah, diba?
interesting.
I'm not
Correct.
really, alam ko lang magsaing.
Okay.
I mean,
I didn't know
Hindi pa
that.
sure
yes, my brothers could attest to that.
Okay.
Ayun, I'm not really that into cooking, but medyo particular in terms of flavor. So, hindi ako gumagawa
So
like
you
on the
are a
end.
good food taster.
Something like that, yes. Oo. So, yun. So, medyo iba lang. So, ang ano lang natin dyan is nandito ako sa food business but I'm not really that good in cooking.
So what brought you to food business?
I think what brought me here is actually the passion of how I see the reaction of the customers.
So it's the same as what we talked about earlier.
Actually, I learned from it kasi sinimulan ko lang naman siya. Wala naman akong idea how to really brew a coffee before. I mean, coming from my brother's idea lang yan. And ako more on 3-in-1 lang naman ako dati.
Talaga?
Yes, oo. Doon ako
Wow.
natuto. Like, I will
Grabe namang evolution.
I will not mention like brands, but
Ayan.
yes, instant coffee. Yes, instant coffee. That's where I started.
Okay.
Then I learned from my brother and then I saw the potential of the coffee business. So
Okay.
doon ako nagsimula kasi ako
So yung
nagpapalpitate
brother
lang
mo
ako.
yung into coffee?
Yes, siya talaga into coffee. And sila din more into business, more into cooking. Cooking, baking, sila yun.
So you were more of the business side?
more in the business
So
side.
they were more of the passion side?
Yes.
You were more of the business side?
Yes, so we work together. Sila more on the technical side. Ako more on the make it the system, execute, make it the system, how we can make it more marketable.
Right.
So doon ako sa business side.
So actually, that's another thing I learned, diba? Na hindi puro passion lang.
Yes. Yes.
You need someone to execute.
Tama.
Okay, Prime.
Okay.
Sino? Para kanino?
Para kanino? Actually, sa akin yung mindset ko kasi talaga, kahit ang food is para sa akin kahit kanino yan.
Really?
Yes, para sa akin kahit kanino talaga yon.
Lahat tayo kumakain.
Oo. Kumbaga lahat naman tayo marunong magluto eh.
Ay,
Oh.
medyo ano na
I
ako
mean, guys, kahit magprito ng hotdog, alam natin yon. Pinaka-basic.
Believe it or not, I know some people that mess
I mean,
even that up.
Siguro yung point lang na yung description lang sa'yo na magluluto is masarap, marunong. Ang point ko lahat marunong. Pero
Okay.
yung may dalawang klase ng marunong.
Marunong sa magaling.
Yes. So
Yeah.
sinasabi ko lahat marunong.
Okay.
So lahat pwede.
Mm-mm.
So sa akin yung first siguro yung, hindi siya ng para kanino, yung gustong para maging kaninong, kumbaga yung point ko yung para makuha mo yung food, kung bakit sa food ka. Diba?
Yes.
So first yung siguro, isang reason, na possible reason para mapunta ka sa food is yung passionate ka sa pagkain.
Doon pa din. Oo.
'Di ba? Yung passionate ka dun sa pagkain na iba yung puso mo dun sa pagkain, isang yun, and everything will follow eh. Second is yung right mindset. No, right mindset na kailangan mo na knowledge para ma-execute mo yung food.
Yes, yes.
Di ba? Hindi naman pwedeng, marunong ako, passionate ako sa
Kulang
pagluluto.
kasi, di ba? Kulang yung passionate
Oo.
sa luto lang.
Tapos, dun ka na lang mag-stop. So, kailangan may right mindset ka.
Okay.
Third, yung open ka sa learnings yung right mindset na yun. Kasi puro right mindset, alam mo yung mindset, hindi mo naman ginagawa. Nonsense.
Right.
So, yun yung nakita kong possible na pwede mong pasukin
Be a
yung food.
doer, not a thinker.
Yes.
So, yun yung possible na nakikita ko na mas mabilis yung pag-grow mo sa food business.
So I guess to tie it all together, if you're not one to cook or if you're not the one who's passionate about the food, you should work with someone who is passionate about the business side.
Yes.
Kumbaga, there's
Tama,
two
tama.
sides of the coin. The creative, the innovator, and then the executor. The one who
Yes,
can
correct.
take that passion and bring it to life.
Correct.
Diba?
Yes.
If you can be both, even better. Pero if hindi ka talaga yon, you find someone whose strengths are your weakness to
Correct.
complement.
To complement.
Oo, tama.
Tama yun, tama yun.
So yun yung tatlong nakita kong possible.
All right.
So yun.
Just to cap everything off, for those listeners right now who are listening to this episode, they wanna maybe try to
Yes.
start the food business. What is your tip to them? Like, anong first thing they should do?
Tip siguro, paano ba?
Pag ganito naman, yan.
Ako naman.
Ako lagi sa gitna.
mga gusto mag-food. Siguro, yun nga, yung possible na yun. Yung gawin nyo lang yung tatlong sinabi ko.
Which is?
Yun, dapat, maging passionate ka
Passion?
doon. Second, yun nga, yung right mindset.
Mhm.
Tapos, yung tatlo, execute mo, di ba? Yung,
Passion, mindset, and execution.
Yes. So, yung tatlo na yun, yun yung tips talaga na para kahit naman kahit saan, kahit anong pagkain pa yan. Basta yung dala-dala mo yung tatlong yun,
Mm-mm.
solid yun.
All right.
Okay. Actually, nag-iisip na nga ako.
Tips
Sabay sa
for
akin.
people who want to start a food business. What can you
Sir,
give them
May isa
advice?
pa akong
Ayun,
pala.
sige,
sorry.
add natin,
Add-on
add
sa
natin
kung
yan.
habang nag-iisip ka.
Okay, okay.
Ito talaga, number one, siguro kung may chance ako
Right.
na babalikan ko yung pagiging bata ko nung
Actually,
dato.
that's
Hindi.
our topic for the
Hindi,
next
hindi,
episode.
Sa tips to.
Okay.
Sa tips kung babalikan ako doon, siguro yung isang tip ko, yung maghanap kayo ng tamang mentor.
Totoo yan.
So, yung number one din yun. Isa din yun na mentor.
Someone who's made your mistakes.
Yes.
Yes.
Sa yun, kung hindi mo alam mag-umpisa, maghanap ka ng mentor na yung yung dun siya magaling sa food.
Mm-mm.
Dun ka, dun.
All right.
Totoo yun.
Mm.
Okay. Sa akin naman, actually tama lahat yun. I greatly agree. Doon. So just to add din doon is maybe explore what are the areas you're good at and relate it to food. So halimbawa, magaling ka in terms of creatives. Now, how can you relate it to food? Explore what is your talent and then relate it to food. So ako kasi, syempre, speaking from my experience, I'm not really that good in cooking.
Correct.
But I'm working with people who are good at it.
Yes.
I'm building a system, a culture with those people who are good at it.
Right.
So, yun. It's a different kind of take, but I'm speaking from my experience, so I guess it works.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
You have something more.
Actually, yun lang eh.
So for me to echo on that, I'm actually gonna play devil's advocate a bit. I'm gonna say if you're listening to this podcast right now, you think you want to be a food business entrepreneur,
Correct.
I'm here to tell you if it's really not for you, it's not for you. If it's not for you, it's not for you either. So if based on the things that you've heard in this podcast, if you're not passionate about food, you don't have the right mindset for food, and you cannot execute food, then maybe it's not for you.
Yes.
We're here to tell you, don't do it.
Yes,
Diba?
yes.
So for me, what you should do depends on everything around you. Look inward and also look outward. What do I mean? Look inward. Do you have the gifts? Were you given the gifts? If you were given the gifts, that's not accident.
Correct.
That was given to you for a reason. You should use it. But you should also look outward. If you weren't given the gifts, are the people around you given the gifts?
Correct.
Are the people around you the kind of people that you have gifts to help them?
Yes.
Like Gab,
Yeah.
right?
Correct.
So if you were given the gifts, use the gifts. Find people with gifts to complement yours. And vice versa, if you weren't given the gifts, find people with the gifts that you can also help.
Yes.
Diba? But if you don't have either, don't do food business. It's not your calling. Maybe your gifts are for a different industry.
yes.
Maybe you should be a newscaster, diba? Or a beatboxer.
O baka yung gifts mo nasa December lang.
Who knows?
pwede.
Who knows?
Pasko pala.
Diba?
Pasko, gift.
There you go. Oink.
Okay.
So I guess that's it for that pretty much wraps up like why food business, diba?
Yes.
I think nasagot naman namin lahat.
So far, I think.
That's for this episode. Tune in for the next episode where we will be discussing how to start a food business and how we would have done it differently. Kumbaga, if we went back to kung paano tayo nag-start, paano natin gagawin differently.
Oo.
Alright.
Tama.
Alright, so tune in for the next episode.
For the
See
next
you guys.
episode. See you guys.
This is What's Hatching.
What's hatching?
What's hatching?